questions?
Unless you have a statement.
I'll say, I got something I want to say. When a team is this immature, when a team vacillates in its performance this much, week after week, that's a head coach's responsibility. My responsibility is to get a consistent performance that's close to the maximum of our ability all the time. And with provision for human lapses that you might have for a few minutes here and there, what you see with really outstanding programs is just you know what you can expect when they take the field. Right now, you have no idea what you're going to see with Georgia State Panthers. That's my job. I will get that done. We will become a consistent football team, and my job is to get that done this week. We'll go right back to work tomorrow. It's obvious that this game could have been very different. I'm very much an admirer of Coach Jones and the South Alabama program, and I have been since the beginning. The way they do things, their emphasis on academics and integrity, the way they win, frankly, the way they have dominated the turnover margin in their games and had dominated the fourth quarter coming into our game. It's all some admirable football stuff. And we hope to become a more consistent team and do a better job so we can match up better with them the next time we play. And we will get that done. So I'll be glad to answer questions.
Now, were you encouraged, though, with the way your team battled in the fourth quarter to get, you really made this a one-play game. If you stop them, you get the ball back. So
you got to stop.
Yeah.
You got to stop. You got to tackle the guy. Everybody knows he's going to run it. We got 42 guys at the line of scrimmage, and we can't get in the gap and tackle the guy. And then when we do tackle him and wrap him up and pick him up off the ground, we let him go. He runs it for another first down. I mean, that's concentration. That's not a lack of physical ability. Those guys can tackle. They do it every day in practice. We work hard. We work on fundamentals. People talk about going back to basics. We've never left basics. We will never leave basics. So, and you haven't seen us play before, but we always fight back. We have a lot of grit on our team. We got wonderful, tough, smart young men. They're just not mature. And I expect them, and they should be more mature than this. And that's my point. Yes, we brought it back to a one-play game, but we shouldn't have had to fight that far back. When you get that far out of a game against a good team, your chances of making it all the way are real slim. That's 2 weeks in a row for us.
Coach, can you talk about the decision to kick off instead of trying the onside kick after your last play?
Yeah, the way they were moving the ball, if we give them the ball at the 50-yard line, and with 10 guys up there, the chances of getting an onside kick are very slim. Kick the ball deep when they don't have a return on and they can't block for their returner, and you're going to get good field position. And then since everybody in the world knows they're going to run the ball anyhow, you get them stopped and you make them punt the ball, and there's a much better chance of getting the football than with an onside kick. Onside kick is much more a desperation thing.
Can you just talk about that second quarter, kind of the momentum shift where the Jags kind of had a flurry and that really kind of, put this game in a whole different direction?
Yeah, they ran us out of the stadium with great execution, excellent blocking. We turned the ball over twice. There's 10 points. Bingo, bingo. And that's what happened a week ago, except that we turned it over 4 times a week ago. And that's another sign of just pure immaturity. And yes, they made some nice plays to get the turnovers, but we simply can't get away. We're not good enough to get away with that. And you could look at the scoreboard and think, well, it's all over. We don't ever believe that. And so the fact that we fought back is admirable, but that's all it is, that we didn't get to win, and that we came here to win. We didn't come here to make a nice comeback, and they were dominating in that quarter. And if anything, I imagine the coaches had a tough time making them believe that this actually could be a tough game. I don't know. It looked like we had some open things that we didn't get going soon enough in the second half, not like we should have. They're all kind of ramifications, but the bottom line is we are not a steady, consistent group of football players that got it together. I mean, our best together. I don't mean we're a great team. We're not, but we can be decent when we play well all 4 quarters.
Coach, you mentioned the troubles you had tackling, but I imagine it, I mean, to their credit also, they seem like they have a really powerful running game that was probably tough for anybody to stop at this level.
Well, yeah, they got good backs, they block well, but nobody's that good. When you got 3 people, and you got him in your grasp, in his backfield, I mean, yes, he kept fighting, and he's a heck of a player. They had a couple of them that are really good players, but that is mostly poor tackling.
Coach, in a few weeks, you guys are going to play your old school Alabama first year program. I mean, what kind of goals and expectations do you have going into that game?
We honestly haven't thought about it for obvious reasons. We have issues to deal with these teams. It'll be tough against Lamar when we go home next week. And then we will focus on Alabama. And my hope is, and I think most people know why we took the game now, because it was the only game Alabama had for about 1,000 years. And we had wanted to play somebody that was a big school. We had contacted 25 schools and only 3 got back to us, and 1 was Alabama. And when they first said, this is the only game we got, I said, oh, you gotta be kidding, this is our first year, man. They said, well, this is it, Bill. Take it or leave it. I could not look these kids in the eye and say, well, we're not going to Alabama. You're not going to go have that experience. You're not going to see what it's like to play against the best because we're afraid or we don't want. I mean, no. So we're going to go and take our best shot and see what happens and learn a great lesson about what it's like to play against the best and what the best looks like and feels like. And then we're going to get up off the ground if necessary and keep scratching and fighting until we can play with the best. If that takes 10 years, then that's what it takes. But it'll be a great lesson for us, and it'll be a great experience. Our men will never forget it. And it's already helped us in 1,000 ways in preparing in the summer. You could hear the guys without us saying it. Hey, I'm getting ready for Tuscaloosa. Things like that cause you to pump more iron, run more sprints out there when it's 110 degrees on the artificial turf in Atlanta. So Alabama's been a great motivator for us, and it's a great honor just to get to go there and play.
As you've gone through this season, how rewarding has this been for you to get a team ready every Saturday, go through the normal things any coach would do to try to prepare and compete every week? How special has that been for you after being away from it for a while?
It's the highlight of my career. Most of these kids have been told they weren't good enough. Most of them were not highly recruited. Most of them came here just looking for an opportunity. They're hungry, they want to be taught. They don't always learn as quickly as I would like. I'm very impatient. I just expect them to be their best every day, in the classroom first, and on the field, and in the weight room, and in the conditioning. And I was blessed to have so many great coaches, and I guess the most famous one is the one that said you don't do things right some of the time. Winning is not a sometime thing. You have to do things right all the time. And having the privilege of teaching them about, you got to show up at tutoring, you got to go to weights, you got to do your running, and then you got to tackle in the 4th quarter. And to see the lights gradually come on, and frankly, yes, to see a comeback like today, we could have laid down. Second week in a row, we could have done that. So we do fight back. We do have a lot of spirit and grit. And being privileged to bring these young men to a great school and to be their mentor is one of the best things that I've ever been privileged to.
Coach, can you, I mean, obviously, this tackling has just been a weak spot for the whole season. How would you describe how it's come along over the course of the season?
Well, I would say that it hasn't come along at all the way it should. excuse for the tackling to be as poor as it is right now, none. There's no excuse for the blocking on offense to be as poor as it is. So what you do when that is the case is you keep blocking and tackling at practice, and hopefully don't lose everybody. And we lost a few people this week. That's life. Everybody loses players to injury. And we can't go out and scrimmage every day the way we did in training camp. And it's just going to take a little longer than I had hoped for us to be good at those very difficult, demanding things. Football is the ultimate team sport. But when you're out there by yourself, and that big son of a gun's lined up across from you, it's one-on-one. You got to push